Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Today I have a very special video because today I have a guest. I have a guest from Iowa and he has a very interesting story. And I'm about to log into the Zoom. Cody, Dietrich, however you like me to introduce you.
Dietrich will be fine.
Alright, so Dietrich. Dietrich. And we knew each other for how long, Dietrich? You've been on Firearms for America.
I've been a watcher on your channel for probably at least 18 months or so.
Nice. Well, so it's been a while. Well, thank you.
Yep.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I stumbled across your channel from your the Alien Gear holster shapeshift shoulder holster review.
Dietrich, one of the things that one of the comments that you posted on Firearms for America, that kind of started this conversation that we had a little bit, and it was about the situation that you have been in, and it's a pretty serious situation. So kind of that's one of the reasons why I invited you to have this conversation. I asked for your permission to do this video because I think it's always interesting and also very educational and informative. When people, it's not an easy thing to go through, and but sharing that story, it can be a lot of lessons for other people. So I'll let you share the story, and if you don't mind me asking questions, I'd really like to, because so I'll let you do the trick.
All right. Before I get going here, if you guys see me swatting around or twitching a bit, the flies are getting pretty nasty out here at the moment. So starting off, I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a really good, strong Christian and everything, and I've been away from that scene for a healthy minute, because where I grew up, we always had Sunday Christians, or people that are holier than thou on Sunday, but Saturday night they're out there doing blow, being with promiscuous people and just drinking heavily, and just pushed me away from it. So I was like getting back into things, talking to my buddy, invited me out to a church group one week. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'll take you up on that. As I'm getting ready and everything, I got my gun on my hip and the whole shebang. Then gets time to get picked up. I start walking out to his car. I stop and realize I still got my Burst of Thunder 380 plus, 15 rounds of 380. Really nice. Highly recommend it.
Good gun.
But it's just a little bit bulky, a little bit noticeable if you look around appendix region or anything like that. Like, no, going to a church, it seems a little disrespectful or a little bit distasteful to be bringing a gun into such a place. So I walk back into my house, I set it down on my countertop, and then I get back out, hop in the car, we go there. It's about a 15-minute drive from where I live, so it's like we're talking, having a good time and everything. And as we get there, we start pulling up into the parking lot. We see people running, jumping into their cars and taking off. And it's like, oh, something going on. It's like, it's supposed to be today, right? So we're checking. It's like, yeah, it's Thursday. It's 6 p.m. It's supposed to be right now. Then one of the cars stops as we're pulling up into the parking lot, and it's like they're telling everybody to leave. It's like there's a shooter on property. And it's just like, my first thought is, I left my gun at home, because it's just like, you shouldn't bring one of those. It's a little bit distasteful. And it's like the person in the car takes off, and I look at my buddy who's I'm with right there. It's like, I'm prior Navy, he's in the Air Force right now. And I'm like, do you have anything? It's like, no, I took it out of my car this morning. And it's like, crap. It's like, okay, well, park. It's like, I walk with a cane and stuff after my accident. So it's like, you go find whoever's in charge, see what's going on. I'll go see what I can find out here in the parking lot, because people are hiding behind cars and all sorts of jazz. And I get out. So he backs out. He starts heading inside the building. and I start going. I just walk straight up to the first individual. I'm dressed kind of similar to what I am now, and instead of Hawaiian shirt, I had an orange kind of fall earthy color flannel, similar or blade similar to yours. Still highly noticeable. I got a dark orange shirt underneath, so it's like you can't miss me. It's like everybody's gonna see me. And it's like I'm not hearing any shots at the moment. And I walk up to the nearest person. It's just like, get down, there's a shooter. I'm like, okay, well, how long ago was the last shot? And there's just like, I don't know. It's like, okay. How long does it feel like it's been? He's just like, I really don't know. The guy I'm talking to is probably about 24, 25. I'm in my 30s, I've been around a bit more. He's scared shitless. He's got girls near him and stuff. They're all hiding behind cars. I'm like, okay, do you know which direction it was coming from? And it's just like, no idea. It's just sitting there. He's full panic. And it's just like, okay, can you tell me, anything of what's going on right here? I'm still standing up. They're hiding behind a little sedan. So I'm like, my head and everything's 2 feet above this car. And it's like, I'm looking around. I'm not seeing anything. I'm trying to get him to focus and calm down. And this is a university town that I'm in. So this is a college church. So it's like they're all college age. You got your football team there, your college football team. So you got big guys there.
Younger
and
crowd.
They're all poking their heads out of the doors, but no one's coming out. So it's like, okay. And I try to think of, I don't remember what was the last question I asked him, but as I go to see it, we hear one more gunshot go off. Now it gives me kind of a heading and stuff, what's going on. So I start looking that way. And I'm like, okay, I'm going for it. As soon as I get by, start going the opposite way. It's like, if anything, I'm going to catch attention, whatever. And before I just take off, I just kind of look up over there. And I just kind of nod to myself, and I just go dead calm on the inside. Probably top 3 times that I've just been pure focused on what I'm about to do. And I've just got a job, I'm going to go do it. And so I pick up my cane and I start walking where I heard the shot. And people are screaming and everything for me to get down. And it's just like, no, if I'm still here, it's been this long, it's been a single gunshot, chances are it's over.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I would later find out that it was over. I was standing about 30 feet from the guy. And that last shot we heard was him eating his own gun.
So he shot himself in the end.
Yep. So I was like, I'm gonna go. Then cops show up and everything and start doubling back and find out where everything is. He had apparently, we'll get into that part a little bit later. So as I double back on there, we got a guy who's out there providing chest compressions to the first shot individual. He's doing compressions, and then you got people over gathered by another individual that was shot. And they're all just kind of standing around that one. No one's really making a move to help or render any sort of aid. And so it's like the guy, sorry, got an alarm going off.
No worries at all.
So the guy doing the chest compressions, which there's usually 3 different ways, 4 different ways. 3 common ways people react to a situation of high stress. There's the fight, there's the flight. I almost did the wrong 3. There's fight, there's flight, and then there's freeze. And some people, there is a 4th one that just triggers. I would say it's more uncommon than rare, but it's a little bit more on the rarer side of the uncommon spectrum. And that is, you have a little bit of a skill set that applies to a crisis situation. And so you channel all your panic and everything into that little bit of a skill. For this individual, it was CPR and such. He just sat there and he did chest compressions because that's
kind of like in the
how
stadium.
he was. Yeah, that's how he was processing the stress and everything. It's like, I got a lot of respect for people like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, they were yelling, it's like, wait, it's like, aren't you breathing into it? And it's like, oh, I don't have a little, or they have like a seal or dental dam or something like that they use nowadays, or a little pump to do. It's like when I was growing up, it's like CPR, you do your compressions, then you breathe, lip contact, whatever. And they're not doing their respirations. And so it's like I go to walk up, and as I'm walking up, I'm watching what's going on. And it's just like, well, we don't have one of these things, so we're not gonna do it. And it's like, okay, I understand you guys are scared about it. So it's like, screw it. I'll do respirations if you're serious about this.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm walking up, I look down at her, and it's very, how do I want to say this? It's very clear to anybody that looks at her head area that she's dead. There's nothing. Gray matter is on the pavement. Her brain is exposed. She's dead. There's nothing you can do about it. Worst case scenario, the brain stem's undamaged. You get it to kick back on. The heart starts pumping again. She's on the hospital, and all you're gonna do is make it worse for the parents.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand likelihood of this happening, slim to none. And it's like, this is his way of dealing with the stress and everything. He's dedicated to it. I got respect for that. So I told him, dude, her brains are on the ground. She's dead. She's gone. If you're serious about this, I'll sit here and I'll do compressions with you.
Yeah.
Or I'll do respirations for your compressions. I'm gonna go check on this other one before coming back to do this with you. I walk over to the other girl. She's laying down. She's got a hole about yay big, about 1 inch wide, through her chest cavity, shot straight through the heart. She was dead within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Or she was brain dead in, like 60 minutes or something like that. But yeah, she was gone. And it's just like, okay. So I go back to him, and by that time, the ambulance is pulling up. The medics are getting out and everything. They look at the first girl with the head wound and tells him, hey, dude, she's gone. There's nothing you can do here.
Yeah.
And having somebody of authority tell him that, you could just see just killed him, and he starts screaming no and everything. He gets up and he just takes off. And it's just like, you can really see and feel the amount of pain he was in for it.
Yeah.
So, everybody's there for about another hour and everything. And I started looking around, and it's just like, it starts setting into me. So I'm reflecting that there's a lot of people there. There's over 200 kids there. Every single member of the university football team. It's one of those mega churches now. I think it has like 1,800 members for the congregation or something like that, with parents and children and all that jazz. This is just their college youth night. Going inside, looking around, there's at least 60 guys, 6'4", 200, built like Terry Crews.
Yeah.
And it's just like, in my generation, in your generation, and the generation above us, these guys would have been charging the person the moment the gun got pulled, let alone the first and second and the third shots were going off. It's like, what is... Oh, sorry. That's getting a little bit off topic, but it's one of the lingering questions I have is, this is the future of our country.
Yeah.
We need to be doing something different. Is that spark gone in our youth? And if it is, how do we get it back to them? Just something to think. If you guys got kids out there, just train your kids to fight, and you'll sleep soundly.
Yeah, for sure. And it's it almost has to do with that quality. I mean, we can call it quality, we can call it moral value, but that's sort of a self-sacrificial almost. I'm gonna put myself outside of the comfort that I'm in. I'm going to put myself on the line so that I can save somebody else. And it's sad. It's really sad to see things like this happen anywhere, but it's even more sad that it happened in the church.
Yeah.
It happened in the church. It almost shows both sides, right? We have the evil, the person that came in and committed this horrible act, killing so two girls he killed.
Yeah, so then himself.
Two girls killed and then killed himself. And then on the other side, we have the people that were in there. And I mean, it's really hard to judge someone when you are not yourself in the situation, because you don't know how you would react. Because I mean, we can all talk and say, you could have done this, could have done that. But at the same time, still, you could have done something and, you didn't. Living here, in the United States of America, beautiful country.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Everything.
We have soft lives, and we're going to be soft people.
Yeah. Yes. And with that softness, with that comfort, you forget that it is your responsibility to protect your own life. It's your responsibility to protect the lives of the people that are around you, who are, weaker than you, women, children. And slowly you give that responsibility away. And here, these days, most of the times we give that responsibility to the government. The government will take care of it. And the police will
take it. We'll get into that, don't worry.
And the government is obviously willing to take that responsibility. They will, because with that responsibility, when I take away your responsibility for something, now I gain power over you. Now I gain control over you. And now I can dictate you. You want to stay comfortable? Well, now you have to, play under my rules. But the question that I wanted to ask you before we get into, the rest of the conversation.
Yep.
How did the church, the leadership of the church, responded to this? Was that ever mentioned in the sermon? Were there any conversations?
So their response to this was hiding in the church, calling the cops. No, I think it was somebody else out in the parking lot that called the cops, or at least that I know of. Their way of handling this situation was to tell anybody they see to just go home. There was going to be no service, was my interaction with them. But my buddy, when he reported back to me, it's like, well, the cops are on their way and everything. I'm like, well, I know that because a girl 20 feet away from me that was on the phone with them still.
Yeah.
And there's a guy out there on the highway trying to flag down the police as they go by. It's like, I understand everybody's been notified, but other than to call the police, there was nothing anybody did. Because it took me, a guy with two shattered femurs, a bum leg, a bum arm, walking with a cane, to go out there and try to hunt down the situation. Now, I understand I've been dead before. I have a different relationship with this stuff. I'm okay with my mortality, and I live my life accordingly. It's like, so, with military experience, like, things were a little bit different. We accept the fact that we issued this country a blank check with our lives that could be cashed at any moment to protect the Constitution and the country. Country meaning the populace. It's just like with the church. The church is the body of people worshiping. It is not the preacher. It is not government. The country is the people. It is the populace. That is a huge thing. Your oath is to the country and to the Constitution, to nothing else. Anyways, that would be another tirade for another time.
It's on point. That's 100%. You're on point. I mean, it's people start noticing that almost that unhealthy kind of relationship. Same thing, the way we treat government is the same way that we treat church. And it's the same mistakes that we make when we put the government above us, saying that, oh, these are the people that govern us, right? Even though it is supposed to be the people that are there, that's the public servants. Politicians, at the end of the day, they're the public servants. They work for us. We're the
I think
bosses, the people, the taxpayers, they're the bosses. And again, the same thing with the church. We gave away our responsibility of worshiping God, of seeking God ourselves. We gave it away to all these pastors, all these priests, and now the churches, they're not the body of people coming together, the community working together to, do whatever righteous things that we're doing, right? No, it's the same temples.
So this guy was apparently dating the girl that got shot in the head.
Yeah. That kind of, that's the impression that I got when you started telling me. I was like, jealous boyfriend.
So apparently he was quite a bit older than her, not a well-adjusted individual. They broke up for like a month. He had been stalking her, harassing her, showing up at places he shouldn't be showing up, to the point of he was arrested and booked with felony charges.
Wow.
I don't know if those were stalking related or if he actually got a hold of something and threatened to take her out and himself out or do some sort of violence, but he had gotten some charges and he was in the process of, or he's being charged with felony charges. So he was disqualified from owning a firearm. Well, he got arrested on a Wednesday and some people bailed him out on Friday.
Wow.
Okay. It's a free country. You're still, if you post bail, you're allowed to leave under your own recognizance. Well, this individual proceeded to go out that following Monday. So 3 days after he was released, 5 days after he was initially arrested and charged and booked, he proceeded to go out that Monday afternoon to a gun shop, buy a pistol or a handgun, whichever you prefer, passed all his background and paperwork and everything. He was legally purchased a firearm. We're getting there. He lied on the form, said he wasn't a felon, although at that point in time, it went through background check and everything. So according to the FBI, at this point, he is a law-abiding citizen, no pending charges.
Yeah.
He's not a felon, according to the FBI. He goes out, shoots 2 people than himself. So if you ask a certain group of people that are way out to this side of the center of the right way, not saying names, he was, by what they want to say, he was now a mass shooter because 3 people died. And I was like, no, that's not how that works. Anywho, I digress. The clerk of the court failed to file his paperwork to send it into the national database for criminal whatever. Failed to file his paperwork.
Wow.
That would have listed him as a felon and denied his background check. So the government, using a system they designed and put into place to stop criminals from buying firearms, failed to do their job. That ended up with 3 individuals being shot and killed.
Yeah. So Dietrich, I'm going to ask you in, conclusion of our conversation. First of all, I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, likewise. It was a good conversation.
Not just thank you for sharing, because it's not an easy thing to share. And so I wanted to ask you, for 3, if you can think, I know some audience is going to be, on this channel, on that channel, but, Firearms of America, guns. And then Ultimate Survival Gear, obviously survival. And then the Church of Fire is, it's more of that spiritual growth, which everything is connected in a way. But if you were to extract for 3 different audiences the lesson, let's start with Firearms of America. Gun owners here in this country, and I use it all the time because there is no other country in the world like United States of America. And one of the, I genuinely believe that one of the things that still keeps this whole everything together is the fact that we are able to still take part of the responsibility for ourselves, thanks to the Constitution, that has a Second Amendment by having a gun. And if you start digging into the Second Amendment, you start understanding that it is strictly about the responsibility. It's not about carrying necessarily, you know, a certain gun or whatever for self-defense. No, it's the responsibility where people don't let the government become so big that now the government is controlling the people. That is the responsibility. So for Firearms of America, from what happened, from what you witnessed, the big lesson that you would share.
Well, I think I can narrow it down to 2 words that can apply to all 3 channels and their, I think the word motives are is the theme of each channel. So yeah, motif, that's right. Self-responsibility and accountability. For Firearms of America, I would say the version of that is to your safety and security. You yourself, nobody else, is responsible or accountable for your safety and safety of you and for your family. You, the person watching this, are the individual who is in charge of it. You can't pass it off to anybody else, because everybody else, they don't care about your well-being like you do, or like you should.
Now, for ultimate survival gear, that survival mindset, you definitely have that. Okay, you survive quite a lot of stuff. Okay, and even the response in the church situation, you know, you could have just turned away, walked away, and never walked into the building and never been there. You know, but something within you have that, where you are, you know, you will go there, you will analyze the situation, you will think straight, you will be focused. What would you recommend to a person who is not like that, who would run away, who would be scared, who would freeze, to kind of work and train themselves to become a little bit more clear-headed in situations like this?
That is a very good question.
I mean, obviously, it's not going to be an overnight thing.
No, it's taken me a lifetime of things that have happened to get me into the spot where I did what I did there. Really, it comes down to what would almost be more in line with the Church of Fire, is strong morals and character. There are certain things in life that I will not compromise on, that I treasure more than my life in itself. And like I said earlier, it's like when I swore my oath when I joined the Navy, I signed a blank check to this populace and to the Constitution that they may ask of me of anything they will, up to and including my own life. And it's like, I took that too hard. It's like, this was a situation where people I have no relationship, that I've never met before in my life. And it's like, it was a threat against the people I swore to protect. I've wanted to be in the Marines, be a Marine Corps sniper scout since I was 5 years old. And so I dedicated my life for it. I read books, I learned, I extracted truths in all these nonfiction or historical fiction books and nonfiction books. The information's there everywhere if you can just see it and be able to extract it. Now, some brains are wired for that. Other people's brains are not wired for it. You just got to see what works for you and such like that. If you got questions, I reach out. I'll do what I can to help y'all. But I'm not a therapist. I have a little bit of psychology underneath my belt. But other than just being someone to help hold you to stuff, it all really comes down, again, to you taking the responsibility for yourself and taking accountability.
Closing out of our conversation, I wanted to let everybody know, actually, Dietrich, you're the one who gave me the idea for this, and I think you're gonna like the idea. What we're gonna do is, you guys know, if you have been subscribed to my Ultimate Survival Gear, Church of Firearms, all three channels. If you have been subscribed, you know that I go out into the nature. I try to put myself into, it's not anything necessarily dangerous, I would say, although to some people it might be dangerous. I don't know. It really depends on your like level of tolerance, I guess. But Dietrich, when we were emailing each other, you told me that you would like to do it. You tried yourself, go up. A pretty freaking serious milestone. Pretty serious milestone for you.
Oh,
Yes.
Wait,
yes.
Go ahead. I think I lost it. I thought you were talking about the climbing Pikes Peak in a year from now.
That's exactly what I was.
Okay.
Exactly what I'm referring to. So I was thinking, how about instead of me just going out there doing stuff myself, how about whoever wants to participate, whether you are subscribed to Firearms of America, whether you are subscribed to Ultimate Survival Gear or Church of Fire, whatever, you want to come together, you want to put yourself outside of the comfort zone, we're going to put these groups together, we're going to come up with pretty serious challenges. Pikes Peak, what is it, 14,000 feet?
Something like that, yeah. I think it's the highest peak in North America.
It's not going to be easy. All right, it's a lack of oxygen. It's hard to breathe. You're walking for miles at crazy elevation gains, and it really is a test of your physical abilities, your mental abilities, and at the same time test of your spirit. All right, and people coming together, people helping each other through this process. I think it's going to be fantastic. Dietrich, what do you think? Obviously, you're going to be part of this because you're the one technically came up with this.
Okay. Let me see if my schedule is going to be available at that point in time. Well, like I said, though, it's like self-responsibility and accountability. I put this idea out there, and now you're going to hold me accountable to it, which means I'm going to have to get off.
There's no way out of this now.
I think I actually have a knee replacement on whatever day it's going to take place. No.
I don't even know if you're joking or if you're being serious because
see, and that's what makes it a viable excuse.
Hey, if you
would say if I'm physically able to do it,
it's going to be better knee though, right? So now it's good.
I mean, it's made out of titanium, but I don't know. I've seen them go sideways. And again, I don't know. No, we'll just set up a date, give everybody a good heads up. As long as it's just like we're talking that one meeting, okay, I'll take responsibility for the idea. Now, if the next time you go up to like Georgia to go climb a little canyon thing and you meet up with people, I'm not responsible. So if he goes missing, it was not me. I had nothing to do with it.
Voluntary participation. It's going to be voluntary participation,
No, yeah, I'm down. I've been out there before, and I know the elevation changes. I've been at 8,000 feet for a few month stretches. It is being built like I am. I come from mountainous people, so I have each one of my lungs is 3 liters in size. I got huge lung capacity. When I go up into the mountains, I just take a deeper breath and I'm good to go. I actually breathe at my full capacity and I feel natural up there. That being said, air sickness is not a joke to people.
Nope.
You can very easily have a stroke, an embolism, you get an air bubble in your blood, go up to your brain, you're done. You're out. Clots can form, all sorts of stuff. It's like you'll be winded, and then just a few hours later, you'll be like, oh, I'm just having a hard time breathing. And then bam, a couple hours later, you're dead. So it's like, we go to the Pike Peaks and do that summit. I would make the caveat of only if you want to take that risk to try to go up there and down in one day without any sort of emergency oxygen supply or anything of that nature. It's like, even if you go to climb Mount Everest, like you have people with you and you spend a week at base camp before going up the mountain, getting adjusted to the altitude. So it's like, do your research, talk to your doctor. If you're going to be healthy enough for it, I'd be more than happy to see you there and climb up and everything.
Dietrich, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone who's watching, they're gonna find their own lessons, because like we were talking about, You can go through different experiences in life. You can hear experiences of other people, and everyone gonna have their own, and it's good because we're all different. At the end of the day, we're all in our own way individuals, right? Individualistic. So
Yeah.
we have our different qualities, characteristic, whatever, skills, talents, maybe, and all of that obviously forms who we are. So for everyone, it's going to be a different lesson, but I'm sure everyone will be able to extract a good lesson from this. So really appreciate your time once again. Thank you very much to everyone tuning in and watching. And well, I don't know, it's for Firearms of America, for Ultimate Survival Gear, for the Church of Fire. There's too much stuff going on. You know, you're right. I'm gonna have a lot of editing.
I didn't do, which I apologize for again. Thank you for your time. It was awesome. It was good to conversate to you versus just the chat and such. Remember to like, subscribe, all that YouTuber jazz. And if you guys really like it, we get a lot of feedback. If you can pressure him, we can start a podcast. Have a different subscriber pop on, do their stories once a week, you know?
That's
Really just take away from his time.
that sounds good.